From the latest on Caribbean cruises to kosher safaris, pilgrimages to Jewish Eastern Europe, and award-winning wines and international cuisine in sun-drenched Tel Aviv. Sit back and enjoy the trip with the travel edition of the Jerusalem Post podcast.
Hello, David.
Ahoy!
I thought you said let's be jolly. That was like cartoon character jolly.
Isn't that what you're meant to say? Ahoy!
I don't know.
All right, quick quiz questions for Mark. Do you know which is port, which is starboard?
That one's port and that one's starboard.
Oh, clever boy. That's very, very clever. Listeners, you're as confuddled as I am.
I did point to it, but for those of you listening in black and white.
Mark's got stereo fingers.
This, David, is my favourite episode of the year. I love doing this every year.
Even though we are sitting in our little studio, it is a joyous occasion because the two of us absolutely love the high seas. We've been very fortunate that we've sailed on some wonderful ships, not boats.
Although they're so big now that it doesn't feel like the high seas. You don't get the wave and the seasickness.
The first time I went on a cruise was with the Israeli company that we're going to be hearing from later on today, Mano, with their old ship. You and I were together, and it was fairly bumpy because in those days they had a much smaller ship, and we were with my family, and my daughter was really ill. My wife didn't eat. Were you a bit queasy as well?
No, I just ate.
Oh, I'm just a man. Oh.
No, there was plenty of good food, and I ate.
Thankfully, it wasn't too greasy. But yeah, you're right. The ships these days from the big companies are so huge that even if you're somebody who thinks, I don't know if I want to go on a cruise, my tummy, whatever, you just don't feel it these days.
I'm going back probably around 25 years, but there was a company that used to do like 2-day trips from England to Scandinavia.
Right.
And most of what they took over was freight and cars, but there was a cruising section, and the North Sea could be really choppy. And I remember there was an indoor swimming pool. and one evening, it was like they had a built-in wave machine. You weren't allowed to use a swimming pool because the waves were hitting the ceiling of this room. You could see it. It was horrific.
Well, on our first cruise together, if you remember, most of the time that we were away, the swimming pool was actually empty. Do you remember watching it when they were trying to fill it up again? They had to keep stopping because it was sloshing so much that it was basically making it dangerous for anybody to be on that deck.
No, all I remember from that first cruise was when we got into Rhodes, they served beer in a glass boot. It was like 3 litres. It was like 5 pints in a glass boot, and I drank it all. And after that, I don't remember a lot.
We had to carry you back. And my wife isn't the strongest lady, but between us we managed. Anyway, the reason we're talking about all of this is, yes, it's our cruising special. And this time, we don't have a couple of companies for you to choose from, or 3. We're bringing you 4 companies, all of whom sail out of Haifa these days.
It's amazing because when you and I, we keep saying this, when you and I went on our first cruise together, and now we're no longer together.
Let's quash those rumours now.
When you and I went on our first cruise together, there was 1, maybe 2 companies. But there are at least 4 now. I believe there's a 5th that has announced it's coming out of Haifa, although that's not confirmed. And a lot of the companies are now emphasising the Eastern Mediterranean as a place to go cruising.
And we're going to be talking about those who do sail from Haifa, but there are also plenty of other companies who don't home port at Haifa, but do sail into Israel, mainly at Haifa, also some in Ashdod, bringing people who maybe have home ported in Turkey or in Greece. And so it's becoming a real hub for cruise traffic.
Most of these companies are launching new ships this year, so we're going to find out what they're putting on the high seas.
Anyway, that's more or less enough from us. But we've got a problem because we love all of these 4 companies dearly, and we don't know who to start with and what the running order should be because we don't want to give one favouritism over another.
I've got an idea. Let's scrap the quiz. Let's have a lottery instead.
Okay. So what we've done is we've got 4 counters here. It's from Rummy Cub, whoever knows the game Rummy Cubs. They've got different numbers on. and we're going to draw them. Do you want to go first or second? Do you want to do the home teams or the away teams, Mark?
What if I get the Joker?
Okay, I'll give them a good shake and you can pick the first one.
Number 7, Crystal Palace.
That is a British soccer joke.
Number 7, a new company. Well, they're not new, but we've never spoken to them before.
Okay, which is?
MSC Cruises.
Lovely. So you'll be number 1. So who gets number 2? My turn. And it's red number 12, because we have 2 number 12s. Red number 12 is Norwegian, NCL.
Couldn't you just pick out 1, 2, 3 and 4?
That would have made too much effort. I just chose the first 4 tiles I could find.
When that last draw is done, there's only going to be 1 in there. It's not going to make so much noise.
I know.
Blue number 10, Royal Caribbean.
Which means, and we've already mentioned them more than the others, that the Israeli cruise company at blue number 12, Mano, will be in 4th place.
How appropriate. It's blue and white, that
Let's have a quick jingle and get on with the interviews.
This is the Jerusalem Post Podcast Travel Edition. Find us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter at MarkDavidPod or mail us at markdavidpod@gmail.com.
Mark, would you like to introduce guest number 1?
I would. He's from a country that is landlocked. Well, he's not, but the shipping company is.
Oh, dear. Yes.
MSC Cruises are a Swiss company, and we now talk to Angelo Capuro, who is the Executive Director for New and Emerging Markets.
MSC is a Mediterranean shipping company, and that means that our DNA, our roots are in Europe. We born in Italy. We are leaving our head office and our company born in Switzerland, and we feel European. So there is a European touch with a strong focus in the Mediterranean way of living.
So you're the Mediterranean shipping company. Israel is on the Mediterranean. Tell us about your interaction with Israel.
Israel for us is very important. Since the beginning, important in terms of destination. It's one of the most important destinations for the guests. They want to visit through the ship. We have an office here. We started many years ago with the cargo part. Someone asked me about the difference between us and our main competitors. Is based on that. It's based on the fact that in our DNA we are international. We are multiculturals and internationals. And this comes also from the cargo part. Having office, having colleagues, living and speaking different languages all over the world, bring us the possibility to be closer to the different area. So we started with the cargo, we open a branch within the cargo office, and now we have our own office. And that's why we believe and we are looking strategically in this market, not only as a place to visit, but also a source market to sell our product all over the world.
MSC departs from Haifa on a number of its cruises, but there are big changes in 2023. Can you tell us about those changes?
I have to say, if I can correctly say it, the big change was even since the beginning, because the approach, even last year with the smaller ship we have, the MSC Lyrica, was always looking at this itinerary, again strategically, not only sourcing in the local markets, but offering to the local markets our international flavors. So we embark, it is quite difficult, as you can imagine, in 4 different ports. So we have customers that embarking on our ship, not only in Haifa, but also in Piraeus, Kusadasi and Cyprus. That means, again, a mix of different customers that are coming from a different place in the world. This year we made an improvement in terms of sites, in terms of tools, hardware, and we move with Musica. So MSC Musica is the new baby that will join.
Where is Musica stopping? Where will people get to see if they embark in Haifa?
The embarkation in Haifa means then having a call in Limassol, Cyprus. Then we have Santorini, Athens through Piraeus, Kusadasi, Mykonos, and then back to Haifa.
MSC launched its largest ever ship last year, the MSC World Europa, and it was one of the stars of the World Cup. I kept seeing it in the news that it was acting as a hotel. What's new for 2023?
We launched 2 ships last year. One was World Europa, our flagship, and also a new prototype. So bring a lot of attention to her. But then we have, after 10 days, a second ship that we launch in 2022. It was MSC Seashore. We launched in New York. It was an incredible event also to present ourselves even stronger in the US market. This year we will have Euribia. It will be launched in the north of Europe. The Christian will be June the 8th, and will be an important event.
It's around my birthday time now, I think about it.
You have to join us.
It would be an absolute pleasure. You talked before about your, if you will, value added being a European feel. In terms of the onboard experience, what does that mean? What is the unique selling point of MSC Cruises?
The unique selling point is try to adapt ourselves. So giving, the way of living of European, Italian, everyone knows we are pretty good. We are trying to adapt and tailor-made our product, learning from the needs from our customer. Last year was the first time we had half of the ships come from Israeli. We start to introduce something in order to give a feeling that they are at home in some way. And slowly we learn. Starting from after the 2-3 first rotation, the product was very good. We study every single week our common form in order to understand what we need to address. So for sure, entertainment is quite important. We adapt also the different area of the ship based on the needs. For instance, Israeli loves playing in the casino more than drinking or stay in the bar. So we adapt ourselves based on the needs coming from the guests.
If you're using Haifa as one of your departure ports, there will be a lot of customers that like kosher food. Is that something that's available on MSC?
Not for the time being. The reason is that we want to give the right products. We don't like to do something that is not at the top level. We don't have a separate kitchen, so we cannot give kosher properly. We are offering, if someone asks, the pre-cooked kosher for the time being. Lyrica was the first ship, second ships will be Musica, but the path is not ended. So the idea is to go even bigger. Also thanks to the incredible result that we are receiving in terms of booking trends already this year. So if we are going with a bigger ship, the situation will be different in terms of segregation of the kitchen, then the possibility to offer a proper kosher food on board our ship.
But pre-cooked kosher food is available?
The pre-cooked kosher food is available for the one that needs and the large family that want to have the experience together, the people that are living and eating the normal food. Even if there are, we learn that is also a lot of not 100% kosher, so they can find the right food to eat even on a normal meal.
As it says on my account when I'm looking for dates, it's complicated.
Yeah, it's quite complicated, yeah.
It shouldn't be that complicated, David, because you're married. You shouldn't be looking for dates. I've told you about this.
I was just saying it for the joke factor.
Sorry, Debbie.
Most important answer of all. Anybody listening to this who wants to book, how can they do so?
The name for website is msccruises.co.il.
Angelo Capuro from MSC Cruises, thank you very much.
Thank you very much to you. Thank you to come here and visiting us, and I hope to see you and welcoming you on board our ship.
You're listening to the Jerusalem Post podcast travel edition with Mark Gordon and David Harris. Mark.
David.
I'm so sorry.
I know. I'm never going to let you forget this.
This is already a year of an argument, or what, half a year?
It's not an argument, it's a broigus, I think the term is in Yiddish.
Here's the mea culpa. I had to cancel because of other family commitments, and I didn't want it to end in divorce. But Mark had said to me, can't you divorce her? Because at the end of the day, this is a Katy Perry concert in Reykjavik at the launch of a new ship and a new class of a ship.
I'd have sold my family to wandering salespeople crossing the desert.
I actually said to you, who's Katy Perry?
I showed you a picture and then you wanted to come, but you didn't win that argument.
Well, at the time, if I remember rightly, and she probably still is, isn't Katy Perry the head of the Israeli prison service?
Yes, I can imagine her in a prison singing songs about fireworks.
Yeah, it's actually true that there are two Katy Perrys in our life. So sadly, we missed that launch. And not only did Mark reprimand me for that, but when we turned to NCL, Norwegian Cruise Line, who were hosting Katy Perry, I also got told off by the Vice President and Managing Director for Continental Europe, the Middle East and Africa. He's Kevin Bubbolts.
I'm sorry, you missed a hell of a party there. We had a good time with Katie. She is a phenomenal godmother, honestly. And when you start a new class of ship, which the Prima class is for us, it's always something special. So Katie actually represents this guest-first philosophy that we have with a focus on the guests and having the best guest experience very well. And she gave us a good time there in Reykjavik. So Viva is an identical sister ship to Prima. That's the good thing. So we can still talk about stuff we had from Prima and the new stuff that's coming up now. This is our new class of ships. It's more spacious. It's actually the most spacious of new built cruise ships these days. So more room for every guest. As you see from pictures that you may have seen, she has the most outdoor deck space of any contemporary cruise ship. So really, it's an outward facing ship where you can enjoy the ocean that you're sailing on very much. She has the highest stuffing levels of any new cruise ship in these kind of class as well at the moment. So really, you can already see from this, we have been elevating our brand, and this new ship class very much represents that. It's all about the quality and enjoying a very relaxed holiday experience, which is about high quality and choice. So we have a big ship not to cram in a lot of people, but to have a lot of choice on it. So you see that in the choice of all the restaurants on the ship, the new food hall Indulge, which is a phenomenal hit on the ship there as well. Broadway class entertainment. On Viva, we will have Beetlejuice, the musical, which is fresh from Broadway, even with one of the stars from Broadway coming to the ship and to perform there. So it's that kind of quality that we are about. And you have a ship class that's an instant hit for our guests. And a lot of new guests, actually, that for the first time are coming to us now because of this fantastic new ship class.
I love the film, but you're not allowed to say the word 3 times, otherwise things go wrong. So we won't mention Beetlejuice. Oh,
that was 2.
Yeah, no one mention it again. Where and when is Viva going to launch? And after the launch, where will it be sailing in its first year?
Viva is going to join us in August. First sailing is 10th of August, and then she makes her way from the shipyard in Italy, and she's sailing to Lisbon in the first couple of sailings, and then basically across the Mediterranean. That's how we start out, how we launch her, and then she will make her way across the Atlantic, and in the wintertime she will be home ported in San Juan in Puerto Rico for a very nice Caribbean season there. First time we have a brand new ship in San Juan, so the market's already very, very much looking forward to that there. And then she will come back to Europe for more sailings next year. And among that, also in 2025, she will actually be in Israel as well. Oh. So we will get to see her in Israel as well.
Amazing. So that brings us on to the Israel question. So last year, for the first time, you had Epic sailing from Haifa back in November and coming back in 2023. How was that first experience in sailing from Israel?
And if you allow me to take a little step back first as well. So Haifa and Israel, for us as a company, we are a global cruise line, right? We are sailing in all the continents of the world. So for us, the main point is offering guests fantastic vacations to go outside of their local area and explore somewhere else. So when we put a ship somewhere, we don't put it there mainly for the local market, like some of our competitors do. We actually do it to attract people to come into that beautiful destination, in this case to visit Israel, have a beautiful time there, and then have a nice cruise from Haifa. So this is how we deploy our ships. And as we grow, Haifa is one of the markets, for example, that is now next on the list to be of more and more importance for us as a growing cruise line. But predominantly, we want to bring a lot of people in to Israel and then to experience the cruises there. Now, on the first sailing on Epic, we had a third of the people on the ship from Israel as well. So, of course, it's appealing to the local market. It's easy to access. And the great advantage for them is that we are bringing a full international high-quality product there. We're not watering anything down or anything like you sometimes see with local products. This is a full high-quality international product that we bring there, where we fly in people from Australia, from America, from all over Europe. And the Israeli guests that join us on this are getting to experience that full quality as well.
where in that case are you marketing to Israelis so that Israelis will go and travel somewhere else?
We have them on our European itineraries and in a lot of other places across Europe. We now have 10 ships sailing in Europe. So that's the Mediterranean, but also Northern Europe. And then, of course, in the Caribbean and even up to Alaska, you find more and more people from Israel as well. So it's about fly cruise holidays in that case a lot. South Africa was a recent hit as well. We had some good groups, also some kosher-focused groups in South Africa that were a huge success. So that was very nice as well.
For our Jewish listeners, is it easy to access kosher food on board a Norwegian cruise ship?
We have a standard offer of kosher food, so it's always available. But to be honest, of course, the full variety of everything we offer on board is not available in kosher. So it's a limited version of what we have. We think it's definitely nice quality and we get good feedback on it as well. But for a full-on kosher experience, we sometimes have these specialized kosher groups with travel partners. Guests can definitely look for that in the Israeli market as well. There are partners out there that are marketing us with groups on special sailings, which are fully kosher focused, and that is then done very, very high quality kosher experience.
If only somebody could invent kosher pork and kosher seafood. I don't know. Where can people get more details if they want to book a cruise with you?
Approach our travel partners in the market. We are working with all the major tour operators and travel agents in Israel, so they are constantly in touch with us and getting trained and retrained and kept up to date. So definitely reach out to our travel partners in the market. And for a quick glimpse, of course, always you can go to ncl.com as well, where you can find more information there.
Kevin Buboltz from Norwegian Cruise Line, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Haifa Port Fact File. El Al, Air Canada, British Airways, American, Delta, United, Emirates, Etihad, KLM, Air France, Turkish and Virgin fly direct to Ben Gurion Airport. The easiest way to get to Haifa Port from the airport, Tel Aviv or Jerusalem is by using the train to Haifa Center Hashmona station. There is limited long-term parking for the early birds at the port. There is also a bus station just outside the terminal. Downtown Haifa has developed rapidly in the past few years, and you can find a variety of restaurants, pubs and shopping. Culture Trip recommends Hanamal 24, Ain El Wadi, Fatouche, and for those of you who want to eat kosher food, Hakuba Shel Efi, Humas Shivat Zion and Lusky Brothers Steakhouse. The currency is the Israeli shekel. 100 Israeli shekels will cost you $27 as of May 2023. Hotels near Haifa Port include the Golden Crown and the Dan Carmel. Go to cruisehaifa.com for information about the terminal, excursions and businesses that will give discounts if you present to them your cruise ship card. Cruise schedules can be found at haifaport.co.il/en/tourism. For those of you that have listened to our previous cruising podcast, you'll know we have a regular guest. But he's so regular, he's not coming this time. And
Ben Boldin.
Ben Boldin, who is the Vice President for Europe, Middle East and Africa.
He looks after lots of big boats for Royal Caribbean International.
Yes. After David called his ship a boat one last time, we've never seen Ben again. He went running. But out of bad news comes good news. He sent a really, really lovely person to come and talk to us. His name is Gianni Rotondo. And his title, wait for this, is General Manager, General Sales Agents, Europe, Middle East and Africa.
This year, Royal Caribbean is introducing a whole new class of cruise ship called Icon. And the first of those ships is called Icon of the Seas.
Icon will be, of course, the newest ship in the world. It's also the largest ship in the world, one of the most environmental friendly ships. The concept of Icon is similar to Wonder. So it's a ship divided in 8 neighborhoods, so 8 areas, and from the Aquadome, from basically the pools area, Central Park. So in this sense, it's similar to Wonder, but again, bigger with more and new innovative features. I would mention some of them. First of all, the pool areas. There are 7 pools. So basically, a new pool daily for our guests. As usual, to entertain, we do have also 6 water slides. And this time we are including also the first raft water slides for the whole family. So everyone can basically do the slide together.
I'm going to interrupt you for a second. Mark, you and I have yet to do a slide on an RC ship. Are you prepared to do a raft slide?
I noticed the question was to me and you're not joining. when we were on Wonder, I did the zip line and David watched. He pretends that he was filming. So
let's go together.
I will if you will, David.
And then, of course, I mean, it's not only about slides or water slides, it's also, say, fantastic for relax, which is typical of Royal 40 new or returning dining, bar, nightlife options.
I just want to clarify, did you say 40? That's
Wow.
a lot.
Wow.
A small, sustainable city, in a way. I mean, it's plenty of, again, fun, entertainment, but also, again, relax. So there is something for every customer, and that's why it's divided in 8, basically, areas that we call neighborhoods. It's also, again, as I said, a very environmental ship. So it's a big step forward in our journey to basically net zero emission. It will be powered LNG, so the liquefied natural gas, which is the most efficient fuel right now. So say that we are also focusing very much on a sustainable way of doing vacation.
I've got an important question. Is there a running track? Because as these ships get bigger, the running tracks are getting bigger. David and I recorded while running around Wonder. Is this going to be an even bigger running track?
When we say running, we sort of limped about 30 metres.
We did half the circuit.
The only reason we did it was I said to Mark, we've got to make it sound like we were actually exercising so that we could sound out of breath when we were recording that bit. But it was just, the ships are too big.
No, the running track is half a mile.
Wow, my goodness.
Half a mile, yeah. It's great. Of course, yes, there is a running track on Icon 2.
Where will Icon be launched and where will it be sailing in its first year?
Yeah, she will be launched in Q1 next year in the Caribbean. So her home will be Miami. Icon will basically offer 2 7-day itineraries, so West Caribbean and East Caribbean. In each of the 2, the ship is always calling at Perfect Bay, our private island. For the cruise lovers and the Caribbean lovers, of course, there is the possibility to combine East Med and West Med, doing a fantastic 14 days experience in the Caribbean.
You home-ported Rhapsody in Haifa for 4 months last year, back again this year. How was that first year in Israel?
Israel welcomed Rhapsody of the Seas with open arms. It was a fantastic experience. I'm very, very proud to be involved in the launch of Rhapsody. The season was very, very good. I mean, the product became hugely popular to the extent that basically we are repeating this year. So Rhapsody is in Israel. The season will be longer than last year. We go up to basically early November, the 6th of November, so 31 sailings, a very nice mix of 7-night sailings touring East Med, which is great again for the families in the summer. And then in the second half of September and the later season, the ship will do shorter itineraries, 3, 4, 5 nights itineraries, which is better again for maybe incentives or short breaks and so on. We are capitalizing on the experience of last year, making the onboard service on Rhapsody more friendly to the Israeli guests, because they are making 85% of the ship population, and therefore we are now offering the fresh kosher meal, cooked on board, prepared on board. We do have an Israeli DJ, we do have a special show called Ballroom Fever. So say we are absolutely focusing on the Israeli audience. At the same time, as we have now the experience of the Israeli guests on many international ships, and they are a fantastic match with the international culture of Royal Caribbean International, so we are trying to increase the share of international guests flying into Tel Aviv and then sailing on Rhapsody. But say the main focus is absolutely on the Israeli guests.
I can definitely say that it was a great time because my
in-laws went on Rhapsody for their golden wedding anniversary, and they can't stop raving about what a fabulous time they had. We also understand that there's big news for 2024 out of Haifa.
Absolutely. We will repeat in 2024 with a new ship, Jewel of the Seas. Jewel is a different ship class from Rhapsody, newer than Rhapsody. There are more balcony rooms. But again, I would say that the two ships are similar in size. And again, I still believe that I'm absolutely sure that Jewel is an upgrade. The 24 season will be slightly shorter. So we will start basically more or less starting when the holiday schools start in Israel. And again, up to the end of the season, basically November. This is, in a way, testimony of the great success of the Israel reaction to our local deployment. For us now is a must-do in Europe for Royal Caribbean International.
So where can people get more details?
We do have our long-term partner in Israel, Sunorama. So they have offices in some locations in Israel. And then, of course, royalcaribbean.com, so our website.
Gianni Rotondo from Royal Caribbean, thank you very much.
Thank you very much to you.
Hi, this is David Harris from the Jerusalem Post podcast Travel Edition. Find us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter at MarkDavidPod or mail us at markdavidpod@gmail.com. And folks, the final guest is from Mano Cruises, which is our Israeli cruise company, the one and only.
That was a song by Chesney Hawkes.
What, the one and only?
I am the one and only nobody I'd rather be.
Can you sing it?
I can.
Go on.
No, I don't want to upstage our next guest.
Who is Gil Hashmonai, and he is the marketing manager of Mano Cruises.
We started even more than 30 years ago. I joined when it was already going on. We started with smaller ships, 200 passengers, 300 passengers, and eventually we got to the point that we are operating the Crown Iris that is now ship for almost 2,000 passengers.
Haifa is becoming busier and busier with more and more cruise companies home porting at Haifa. What differentiates Mano Cruises from the rest of the market?
Mano is specialized in the Israeli market. We know exactly what are the needs of the Israeli market. It concerns all the activities on board. First, the culinary aspect. We are kosher, of course, and we know the Israeli customer. The entertainment is, of course, also international, but also involves a team of Israeli entertainers. We also know exactly for groups and demands of conferences. The Israeli market knows Mano for many, many years. We know how to host them.
We have quite a large audience in the US and in Europe who are Jewish and keep kosher. Would you recommend a Mano cruise for somebody coming from outside of Israel who keeps kosher?
Yes, absolutely. This is one of the markets, the American market and all Jewish market from all over the world that have the advantage of having a real kosher ship from Israel. We are giving not only services to Jewish guests. We started recently, and it's developing this year especially. We have hundreds of foreigners coming from abroad to our ships. And also the combination of having the Israeli guests, which is the majority at the moment, but guests from abroad, from Europe, from North America, are coming more and more. The ship is very colorful with all the guests from all over the world.
Mark and I sailed on Golden Iris a few years ago. In fact, Mark, if you remember, we won a competition which was, well, it resulted in a little bit of pain for you.
Yes, you had to burst a balloon, and it wasn't with a pin. It involved you throwing your whole body at mine and crushing the balloon between us.
But Gil, I have to tell you, we won first prize and we got a lovely bottle of champagne. So Thank you very much indeed for that. Anyway, that was Golden. You've switched ships. You've brought in Crown Iris that you mentioned before. Tell us a bit about what Crown has to offer.
Yes, so you're right. Crown Iris is the ship that came after the Golden Iris, and if you like the Golden Iris, and I'm very happy for it, you can only imagine that the Crown Iris is almost 3 times bigger than the Golden Iris. There are so many halls for entertainment. We have the Jubilee of 700 seats and the Royal Fireworks for 200 seats. and we have the Polo Bar and the Royal Observatory. All of these outlets are places where we give entertainment, any kind. I mean, we have a pianist on board, and you have a bouzouki player that gives the atmosphere of the Greek islands. And we have a band that sings songs from all over the world. So many possibilities on board. This is what's special, this is what the big change when we started operating the Crown Iris.
We've talked about the ship itself. What about the destinations? Where do you sail to?
It depends, of course, on the length of the cruise. 3-night cruises, we do Cyprus and Turkey. From Cyprus, we are doing the ports of Larnaca and Limassol and the port of Alanya in Turkey. The 4-night cruises, we are doing 2 ports. The one port that is always visited is the Rhodes. And then there are various ports like the port of Marmaris in Turkey, Santorini, Mykonos, Syros. This is for the 4-night cruises. And then we do 7-night cruise that goes further to the ports of Athens, Piraeus to be more exact, Saloniki. And then we do also longer cruises of 11 nights. And then we visit the Adriatic ports like Dubrovnik and Split. And we do the Black Sea that goes to Bulgaria and Romania, to Varna and Burgas. We are even crossing channels in Turkey, Bosphorus and Dardanelles. Also ports to Spain and France. This is something that we are planning to do next year. Our schedule for 2024 is going to be published within the next 2-3 weeks, and you will be able to see it in our website soon.
Mano currently is exclusively home ported from Haifa. Do you have plans to take Crown Iris across the world to maybe home port in the US or in the Caribbean during the winter months?
This is not happening right now, but our plan is to develop into other markets and also other ports. So right now, all of our passengers are embarking the port of Haifa, but in the future, and hopefully when we add more ships, we will also have embarkation from other ports, and possibly also the season that at the moment ends during autumn month of November, we will be able also to continue the season further. This is the plan, and I hope that we will come with news in the near future.
Where can people get more details about Mano Cruises?
We recommend to do the booking through our website. The website, by the way, is in Hebrew, English, and Russian. This is the best way, and also you get the best fares. They can also call, of course, our line directly, and you can find also the numbers there. You can do the reservation online. It's very convenient. You can choose the exact accommodation that fits you. You have, of course, inside the rooms, outside rooms, suites with balconies. You can choose the room via our site. It's much easier. The website is mano.co.il.
Gil Hashmonai from Mano Cruises, thanks so much.
Thank you for talking with us, and let's hope for a wonderful season.
Our thanks, of course, go to Angelo, Kevin, Gianni, and to Gil for bringing you our cruising special. So, Mark, here's a really unfair question. Did one of them persuade you or convince you more than any of the others?
No, I'd like to go on all 4 of them.
Is the right answer. And we hadn't prepped that one.
Every one of these cruise companies has its own USP and...
What's a USP?
A unique selling point.
Thank you.
Depending on whether you're religious, depending on what sort of atmosphere you want on board, depending on what excursions you want, depending on where you want to go, ultimately. But it's really exciting that we have this many companies and this much choice now out of Israel. And it's not just for us living in Israel, for people coming from all around the world, for people visiting from America, who while they're here visiting the family, the mishpucha, and they want a week off from their family and their family want a week off from them, they can go away on a cruise.
My in-laws, if I'm going to make it personal, are actually coming to Israel from America in the fall in order to sail to the Greek islands. It was interesting that at least one, if not more, of the spokespeople of the companies were saying that they are trying to increase significantly the percentage of foreigners who would sail from Israel.
And I think one of the things we discussed on a previous podcast, which is extremely relevant here, the cost of travel and the cost of especially coming to Israel, this is almost an inexpensive way of spending time in a floating hotel, cheaper prices, everything included. Why wouldn't you?
You and I, in one of our news sections, talked about another company, nothing to do with Israel, who is offering a 3-year round-the-world cruise, which, if you share a room, works out at $30,000 per person per year, which may sound, when you first think about it, as being a large amount of money. But am I right in saying that's less than $100 a day, Mark?
Yes, I've just put my application in at work for 3 years off.
Folks, please do subscribe. Tell all your friends about our wonderful podcast. Give us a 5-star rating with your podcast provider.
And if you want to find us on social media or be in contact with us, our email is markdavidpod@gmail.com, and you can find us on Facebook as Mark and David's Travels, on Instagram @MarkDavidPod.
That's it for this time. Let us know what you think. Suggestions also please send along to us. We'll see you again in 2 weeks' time.
Ship ahoy! Boat ahoy! Ship ahoy!